in 1971, if you were an American adult, there was a 61% chance you belonged to the middle class. One paycheck, one house, one car in the driveway, a vacation every summer, a retirement that didn't feel like a fantasy. Today that number is 51%. Not because of a crash, not because of a war, not because of some headline event you'd remember. It happened quietly, one decade at a time, one decision at a time, while everyone was told the economy was growing. And here's the part that should actually scare you. It's still happening right now to someone in your own neighborhood, and they don't even know it yet. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the middle class is vanishing, and more importantly, which side of that line you're going to end up on. Let's call him Daniel. Daniel isn't a real person, but he's every person. In 1985, Daniel's father worked at a manufacturing plant. No college degree, just a union card, and 40 hours a week. That single income bought a 3-bedroom house, put 2 kids through school, and still left enough for a 2-week trip to the lake every summer. Fast forward to today. Daniel has 2 college degrees. He and his wife both work full-time. Combined, they earn more money in raw dollars than his father ever imagined. And yet, Daniel rents. Daniel has student debt. Daniel checks his bank account before buying groceries. On paper, Daniel is doing better than his father. In reality, Daniel is falling behind, and he can't figure out why. This isn't a story about Daniel being lazy or bad with money or making poor choices. This is a story about a system that quietly shifted underneath his feet while he was busy trying to survive it. Let's step out of the story and into the data, because this isn't a feeling. It's measurable. According to Pew Research Center, the share of American adults living in middle-class households fell from 61% in 1971 to 51% by 2023. That's over a 50-year stretch where roughly 1 in 10 Americans quietly slipped out of the middle class entirely. Now, here's the twist most people miss. That shrinking middle class didn't all fall downward into poverty. A good portion of it moved upward, into the upper income tier, which grew from about 11% to 19% over that same period. So some families genuinely got ahead. But the middle, the broad, stable core that used to define the American dream, has been hollowed out from both directions. And crucially, the share of total household income held by the middle class has been shrinking for decades, even as the country as a whole got richer. In other words, the pie got bigger. The middle class's slice of it got smaller. And in major cities, New York, Los Angeles, Boston, Houston, the middle class isn't even the majority anymore. Fewer than half the adults in those cities qualify as middle income today. This is not opinion. This is government data, decade after decade, pointing in the same direction. So what actually happened? It wasn't one villain. It was 3 forces, compounding on top of each other, year after year. Reason 1, wages stopped moving with the cost of living. For decades, if productivity went up, wages went up with it. Somewhere around the 1970s, that link broke. Workers kept producing more value, but the extra value stopped flowing back into paychecks. It flowed somewhere else, into profits, into shareholder returns, into the upper tier of the income ladder. Reason 2, the cost of middle-class life outran everything else. Housing, healthcare, and education, the 3 pillars of a stable middle-class life, didn't just rise with inflation. They rose faster than it. A house that once cost 2 or 3 times a family's annual income now costs 6, 7, sometimes 10 times that income in major metro areas. Healthcare premiums climbed for decades. College tuition multiplied. Meanwhile, the everyday goods, televisions, clothing, gadgets got cheaper, which is exactly why people feel confused. Life looks abundant on the surface, while the foundational costs quietly crush them underneath. Reason 3. Debt replaced savings as the bridge. When wages stalled and core costs exploded, families didn't stop spending. They borrowed instead. Credit cards, auto loans, student loans, personal bankruptcy filings in the U.S. topped roughly 14,000 in 2024 alone, an increase of more than 60,000 filings from the year before. That's not a random statistic. That's hundreds of thousands of households hitting a wall that didn't exist for their parents' generation. Put those 3 forces together, and you get exactly what happened to Daniel. More effort, More degrees, more hours worked, less ground gained. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. The middle class isn't just shrinking, it's splitting in two. One half is sliding down, living paycheck to paycheck, one emergency away from disaster, renting instead of owning, delaying retirement, delaying children, delaying life. The other half is climbing up, building assets instead of just earning income, owning instead of renting, investing instead of just saving, treating money like a system to be understood, not just a paycheck to be spent. The gap between those two halves isn't about who works harder. Daniel works incredibly hard. It's about who understood the shift early enough to move with it, instead of getting caught underneath it. Because here's the truth this video keeps circling back to. The economy didn't collapse. It changed the rules. And the people who are still playing by the old rule book, work hard, save a little, hope for a pension, are the ones getting left behind. So where does that leave you? If you're waiting for the system to go back to how it was in 1971, it won't. That world isn't coming back. The single income, house by 30, retire at 65 path isn't a broken promise the economy owes you. It's a different game with different rules, and the sooner you see that clearly, the sooner you can actually play to win. The families who are quietly climbing out of the squeeze aren't doing anything magical. They're doing three unglamorous things. They're building income beyond a single paycheck. They're putting money into assets instead of letting it sit still. And they're treating debt as a tool instead of a lifeline. None of that is complicated, but almost none of it is instinctive, because none of us were taught it. Daniel's story isn't over. Somewhere between the version of him drowning in bills and the version who finally figures it out is a decision. One decision, made early enough, changes which half of that split he ends up on. The middle class isn't disappearing because of bad luck. It's disappearing because most people never learned the new rules of money, and by the time they do, they've already lost a decade to catching up. You don't have to be one of them. If this opened your eyes even a little, subscribe. Because next week, we're breaking down exactly how the families on the winning side of this split built their way out, step by step. I'll see you in the next one.